So hello guys, good afternoon. So today is another vlog. So for today nga, I've decided to create another vlog because it's really long overdue since the last vlog. For today's vlog pala guys, I'm gonna film my book review for the month of February. Kailan pa yung February? April na ngayon, 'di ba? So as in yung parang it's really long overdue and I really felt the need to start filming. Kasi for the month of February, 'di ba, nagbabasa ako noon. Then month of March, ayun nga, as I've mentioned in my previous vlogs, I was hired in a new company, so I was quite busy. Though wala akong time mag-film at that time, nagbabasa pa din ako ng libro. Kaya meron din tayong book review for the month of March. Pero siguro hindi ko na siya pag-iisahin ngayon, kasi based on my experience guys nung nag-film ako ng February book review ko, sobrang natagalan ako. Like 2 hours ko siyang final. Ewan ko, ba't ganun? Yung parang, ang dami ko kasing mga pinagsasabi na feeling ko hindi naman kailangan. So, ayun na nga. Let's start, guys. My book review for the month of Feb. So, as what I'm saying, it's another month. It means another book review. This vlog is kind of special because I'm gonna talk about the books or the series that I really, really love the most. As in, this series, guys, is nilalagay ko na siya sa pedestal ko. You know what I'm saying? Again, if you are new here, a big warm welcome to you. I'm so glad you found your way to my little corner in the internet. So on this channel, guys, I share a mix of everything: my journey as an OFW, my passion for food, travel, and of course, my love for books. So if you're into any of that, you are definitely in the right place. So as always, I'm super excited to dive into another book review for this month. Wow parang ang tagal ng ginagawa. Pangalawa pa lang naman to the book review natin for this year. Since kakastart ka lang natin sa YouTube, diba? Trust me, I have so many thoughts about my reads for this month. So get cozy, grab your favorite drink, and wala ako nun. But anyway, since you are watching lang naman, so grab your favorite drink and let's get into it. So my first book review for today is the Binding 13 of the Boys of Tomen series by Chloe Walsh. So this is the first book from the series. And I've mentioned this already from my previous book review last January. I was reading this at that time when I filmed that one. And I know, guys, this book is a beast. As in, halimaw talaga siya. Tingnan niyo naman kung gaano kakapal yung libro na to, guys. Tingnan niyo. Gaano kakapal. See, ano siya? Parang 801 pages siya na libro. 801 pages nga. Including, I think, the bonus scene. So yun, 801 pages. So you might be thinking, how am I going to get through this? But trust me, don't let the page count scare you off. Because believe it or not, I finished it way quicker than I thought I would. It's one of those books that completely sucks you in, guys. As in, literal na parang hihigupin ka while reading this one. Aminin naman natin, siguro pag nasa first part pa lang tayo sa pagbabasa ng libro, since the story is just building up, you might find it a little bit boring, but for this one, I didn't feel it that way. As in, parang never ako nagkaroon ng dull time while reading this book. And before you know it, you're turning pages faster than you expected. The pacing is very well done, and the emotional depth of the characters make every page worth it. So Binding 13 is a sports romance since it centers the MMC's sports, which is rugby, contemporary, friends to lovers, and high school novel, blending the elements of emotional growth, competitive sports, and a slow burn romance set against the backdrop of a high school life. So, to dive a little deeper, Binding 13 was set in 2005 at Tomen College, And the country is in Ireland. And if you don't know guys, sobrang gusto ko yung Ireland because when I was still in elementary, 'di ba, yung mga 90s kids diyan, if you are like me na or if you remember that time, 'di ba, ang sobrang sikat noon is mga boy group lang. Andyan yung Westlife, Backstreet Boys, yung NSYNC, 'di ba? Yun yung mga sikat at that time. And since I've gotten to know about Westlife, lagi ko nang kinakanta rather yung mga kanta nila. So, because of Westlife, yes, Westlife talaga yung before One Direction, Westlifer na talaga ako. Taray, Westlifer. Yes, before One Direction, Westlife na talaga yung gusto ko, guys. And I've learned nung nauso na yung internet, nung marunong na ako mag-navigate ng internet at the time, I forgot which year that one, ang pinakaunang ni-research ko is about Westlife. So, doon ko nga nalaman na they are Irish. Ever since then, na parang nakatatak na sa isip ko about Ireland. So, ayun. So, I was shocked. I didn't know that the setting of this book was in Ireland. So, it adds things that why I like this book. Wala lang. Just another information about me. Okay, balik ulit tayo sa libro. So, this book follows Shannon Lynch and Johnny Kavanagh. Kavanagh ba? And Johnny Kavanagh or Kavanagh. I don't know how to read or pronounce their name because as you know, Irish has different pronunciations. So, ayun. Just bear with me na ito yung pagka-pronounce ko, okay? So, ayun. Johnny Kavanagh and Shannon Lynch. Now, before you get into this one, I want to give you a quick heads up because this book does have some heavy content. So please guys, before you decide that this will be the right book for you to read, make sure to check your triggers first because the book touches on sensitive topics like bullying, physical abuse, abandonment, and there's a lot more. Kasi sa kapal ba naman ng libro nito, di ba guys? Check your triggers first and don't tell me that I didn't warn ya. Okay? Because it's definitely not a light-hearted story, but this, I can assure you, it's definitely a powerful one. Binding 13 is actually categorized as a young adult fiction, but I kind of disagree with that because, as what I'm saying, it's really heavy at some point. Not because the characters are in high school, well, that's clearly the case, but because of the scenes in this book. Some of the scenes in this book are really graphic in nature. And I'm not just talking about the physical details, but the raw emotional intensity, the violence, the deep struggles these characters face. It feels way more mature than what you can expect from a typical YA book. So, just to give you an insight about the characters, Shannon and Johnny were still in high school when the story begins. And Johnny was not your typical high schooler. He is a rugby player. And his jersey number was, yes, you guessed it right, 13. Now, I'm not exactly a rugby sports expert and I don't really know about this sports not until I read it in this book. So, because of that, napa-research ako and according to my research, since Johnny is a jersey 13 and since he plays an outside center, which I think is a pretty key position in the world of rugby sport. So if you're into sports, you might already know that. But basically, the outside center plays a huge and vital role in both the attack and defense. So even though I'm not super familiar with rugby sports, I think it adds an interesting layer to Johnny's character. It's not just about being a tough guy in the field. There's so much more depth into him. And I love how the author weaves that part of his personality into the story. On the other hand, Shannon Lynch's story is one of struggles and resilience. She's the only girl of the family of 6 siblings, which already makes her stand out in a unique and different way. But what really adds to her challenges is that she's really not that well loved by her father. So growing up, Shannon has had a really tough time trying to fit in, and not just with her peers at school but also at home. She's constantly battling for acceptance, and it's so heartbreaking to read or to see how she struggles, how she craves for her father's approval, yet feels like completely overlooked. And as if things weren't hard enough for Shannon, her bullies at school start to become even more intense. And I mean, it gets to a point where it's really literally intense. She's really being pushed to her limits because the bullying isn't just emotional or verbal, it escalates to the point making her feel completely screwed and trapped in a situation that she can't escape from. So this is where her mom steps in, deciding to transfer Shannon to a private school named Toman College. And so now this moment in the story is so pivotal because it marks the turning point for Shannon. It's at Toman College where she starts to find a true sense of her own well-being after everything she's been through, the bullying, the rejection, the family struggle. Toman College offers her a new environment where for the first time she might actually have a chance to be herself without constantly feeling like she's under attack. So while the new school does give Shannon a chance to a fresh start, it's clear that her internal struggles and the scars from her past are still with her. So this change in environment marks the beginning of a new chapter of her life, but it's also the start of a whole new set of challenges for her. So ayun guys, that's pretty much the background of Shannon and Johnny. And if you're gonna ask me about the romance in this book, I mean the slow burn romance of Binding 13, it's eating me up in a very ano bang pwedeng i-describe ko doon. It's eating me up in the best way possible. You know that pabebe kind of vibe. This is in 2005, right? And in high school. Siguro 2000, you guys, what year were you in or in school during 2005? Me, I think I was in first year high school at that time. Yeah, 13 years old. So, if in 2005 Shannon was 15, then I was 13 at that time. So, parang ate Shannon, hello. So yun nga, meron siyang pabebe kind of vibe. So parang really high school romance, really high school drama. Like you can always feel the tension building between Shannon and Johnny. And it's everything I didn't know I needed. Like kailangan pa din pala natin ng mga pabebe kind of kilig. Charot. Now, enough of Shannon. Let's talk about Johnny. So, Johnny, for some reason, he's not your typical 17-year-old. Okay, by the way, Johnny was 17 years old during 2005 kasi hindi sila magka-batch, guys, Parang si Johnny is senior high siya that time. Ganon. 17 years old. Then si Shannon nasa junior high school. Okay? So, ayun. He's not your typical 17-year-old boy, high schooler boy because he's huge. He's big. But hindi big na ganun na. Not same as what you're thinking. Because he's a rugby player, okay? That's why he's big. So guys, now I want you to do this. Search niyo muna yung mga rugby players. Kasi yung, ewan ko kung paano niyo i-research because nung ni-research ko, as in malalaki talaga sila guys. Yung mga legs nila grabe. Siguro because they have to, kasi parang rugby, parang aagawin nila yung ball. I really don't know about the sports, okay? Kaya hindi ako sure ba't kailangan nila magpalaki ng ganon. Okay. So, if Johnny is big, if Johnny is huge, eto naman si Shannon, she's tiny. As what Chloe describes her. She's tiny, she's petite, she's a small girl, and you can really feel the contrast between the two of them in terms of body size because yun, minention nga ni Chloe. And the two of them couldn't be more different when it comes to body type, which I think it makes their dynamic so interesting to read. Now, the only ick I have with this book is Shannon's size gets to mentioned a lot. Like, okay girl, gets naman namin na malit si Shannon, but does it have to be mentioned a lot of times? Like, almost every chapter? Like, okay, we understand, okay, we know she's tiny, she's small, then Johnny's big. There's a big difference between the two of them in terms of body types. We don't need to get reminded of it, like, every time, okay? That was the only ick that I found about this book. Because really, I kind of feel like it's a little overdone and it's really not a huge deal. It's not a big deal. You know, after I finished reading this book, I couldn't stop thinking about it. It really stuck with me. The funny thing is, I don't have the second book of the series yet. Siguro parang mga 20 pages left na lang sa book na to. I still don't have the second book, which is The Keeping 30. I totally forgot that I don't have the second book, okay? Akala ko meron akong second book, kaya parang kampante lang ako. Kaya, napa-order ako sa Amazon. And I've already told you that this book tackles some sensitive topic, but it's not just that. Okay? Hindi naman to puro heavy emotional content. Because it's not just that. It has also given me a truly laugh out loud moments, guys. As in, you know, I kind of really admire how Chloe does that. Because one moment you're already so emotionally invested. Like I've shed a lot of tears because you know, yun nga sa struggles ni Shannon and everything else. But the next page, as in, or like the next sentence, guys, I was laughing out loud. Like rolling on the floor, laughing. Ganon yung intensity ng book na to. As in, like I don't expect that from a book. It has really, ito yung literal na roller coaster ride of emotions, guys. So, 1 second, I'm wiping away my tears because of Shannon, and the next second is I'm wiping again my tears because of laughing so hard. Gets niyo ba? Gets niyo ba ako? Hindi niyo gets yung magbasahin. You know, the way this book swings between deep emotions and hilarious moments is absolutely brilliant. Chef's kisses to Chloe, guys. Aside from that, you are also going to love the friendships in this story, guys. Like, literal. They're so genuine and well-developed, and it will totally tug at your heartstrings. And alam niyo ba kung bakit siya nakakatawa? It's because of the banter between Johnny and his best friends. If I can just tell you everything, guys, without spoiling too much, ikikwento ko na lahat. Basta, promise. As in, pero, okay, I will just share this one up based on my opinion lang only. Siguro if I'm gonna make Johnny's best friend's character, it will be Brian McFadden. If you know him, you know him. So, Brian is from the Westlife. Brian kasi is like very playful based on his character or based on judging his character. But parang siya kasi is goofy guy, funny guy. Like, he's fun to be with, ganon. So, there's just something about Binding 13 that really pulls you in. It's like you are being transported back to high school. The drama, the friendships, the emotions. You know, when you were still in high school, yung parang aggressive ka sa emotions mo. It all feels so real while reading this. Like, you are right there with Shannon and Johnny at that time. And of course, the story was way back 2005, which adds a nice nostalgic feels to it, especially if you were around at that time. And it brings back memories of that era. You know, the music, the fashion, tapos yung mga minimension pa na phone dito is yung mga Nokia phone, yung mga keypad phone, tapos yung mga uso pa na-mention dito yung iPod, tapos na-mention din dito yung mga Walkman, Discman, so parang ganun. It's very nostalgic, actually. I cannot recommend it enough, guys. So, please, kung gusto nyong malaman talaga yung mga pinagsasabi ko dito, basahin nyo tong Binding 13 ng Boys of Tommen. So, this is definitely a 5-star read for me, and I am so happy that this was my first grab for the month of Feb. You know, I feel like I started Feb reading a very good book. So I had a nice feel to it. It's one of the books that you just cannot seem to put it down. And when you finished reading it, you left wanting for more. Okay guys, so before I move on to my second read for the month of February, let me first talk about my fourth read for the month of Feb, which ties into Binding 13, which is The Keeping 13. Guys, finally, bakit fourth book ko siya? Kasi ang tagal dineliver ni Amazon sa akin. So, I've read another book. Another 2 books. So, ayun, yes guys, I've read also Keeping 13 for the month of Feb. Both of these books are equally fantastic. And they both earned my 5 stars. Keeping 13 was the second book of the Boys of Tom. Now, if Binding 13 was already a beast of a book, then Keeping 13 is just as impressive with over 800 pages also. So, for this Keeping 13, it was 802 pages, not including the bonus scenes niya. Imagine having a story of 2 books this thick, and it's just only about Shannon and Johnny. Di ka ba magsasawa dun, guys? For sure, ako hindi. Kasi, I'm still going to talk about it. 5-star rating ko nga, di ba? This is the continuation of Shannon and Johnny's story. I know you might be feeling a little overwhelmed, wondering how it's possible for a young adult book, high school love story, stretch over 1,600 pages. But honestly, for me, it's still not enough, guys. If I said I am left wanting for more after I read the Binding 13, now after I've read the Keeping 13, I still want more of Shannon and Johnny. So, in this story, you might be wondering, bakit hindi natapos sa Binding 13 yung story nilang dalawa? So, in Keeping 13, it not only continues Shannon and Shannon's... John. Bakit Shannon lagi? Johnny and Shannon's story, rather. It also gives you a glimpse into the lives of the other characters in the Boys of Tom series. This hint at what's to come will definitely leave you so excited to read the rest of the series. And honestly, I've already checked it out myself. And actually, I've already read during March the 3rd and 4th book. If Binding 13 made me cry, Keeping 13 made me wept. Hindi ko ma-describe kung bakit ako umiyak ng umiyak. Pero really, grabe yung iyak ko sa librong to. There were moments that it really hit me so hard that my husband was already laughing at me. He was really a total wreck of this year about this book. Honestly, that's a testament on how powerful the story is. It really tugs your heartstrings. Parang ginaganon siya. Parang ginaganon yung puso mo, guys. Siguro, I won't go into more detail about Keeping 13. I will just leave it to you guys. Kasi parang na-spoil ko na yung story. But please, it's really not complete. If you just only read Binding 13, you might as well have to have your hands on this to continue about their story, reading Shannon and Johnny's story. Because really, guys, you will not regret reading this. So if you're in a good mood for a good laugh and good cry, don't hesitate to grab these books and you will really thank me later. And I say welcome to you in advance. Alright, my second read for the month of Feb is into a romantasy genre. So, balik tayo sa second, guys, kasi nauna na ako sa fourth. This is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. So this book, Quicksilver, is the first book of the Fae and Alchemy series by Callie Hart. A captivating and intense read that will really capture you and will literally hook you from start to finish. Most especially, our MMC right here is a great shadow daddy. So this book is a perfect blend of romantasy, combining elements of fantasy, romance, fae, magic, vampires, and complex relationships, all wrapped up in a story full of suspense, passion, and twists. It's another 5-star read for me, guys. So, diba? It's so great. Another 5-star read for me. No doubt, my gosh, if you are a fan of dirty, mouthy, strong MMC, then this is definitely the treat you are looking for. I've got this as a BookTok recommendation. I'm one of those who got curious about this book after reading and watching so many great reviews. And let me tell you, they're not overhyping it at all. Hindi siya overhyped, guys. Totoo talaga. The hype is real for this book. I will just give you a quick rundown of the story. Our FMC here, her name is Ceres, a 24-year-old human from the city of Zilvaran, who has strange powers she keeps hidden. Living as a thief and a liar, she's fighting to survive in an impoverished, neglected section of her city, wherein nakarasyon yung tubig, guys. As in, kaya since nakarasyon, tinitipid nila. Yun yung situation ni Ceres, tsaka yung sa city niya. And death from poverty is quite everyday occurrence for them. So when Ceres found herself in a perilous situation, she unknowingly opened a portal or a gateway between realms. Just as she's ready to give in, she crosses paths with Death himself. So Death has a name. It's Kingfisher of the Asian Gate. When she awoke, she discovered that she was being transported to the kingdom of the Fays, a mystical land of ice and snow. If you might wondering kung ano yung mga Fae, parang silang mga diwata sa atin, guys, in Filipino. So, eto si Kingfisher, driven by his own agenda, he decides to keep Ceres because he believes that Ceres holds the key to breaking the curse that has plagued him for years. For him, Ceres was alam mo yung susi na para ma-break sa kanya yung curse na yon. Neither of them has kind of expected that their close proximity will lead to an unexpected bond. As the days pass, they find themselves relying with each other in ways that neither of them anticipated. So what starts as a fragile alliance soon evolves into something deeper as raw, untamed emotions begin to develop between them. Emotions neither of them were prepared for. So there are so many twists and turns in this story, and it's impossible to predict what's coming next. As in, guys, yung parang hindi mo ina-expect na, oh my god, ito, huh, what? Ganun. Parang ganun yung mga reactions mo kasi hindi mo talaga mapipredict yung mga next scenes. For me, yon. Each chapter brings new discoveries, and honestly, there are so many surprises I never saw coming. It keeps me on the edge, like, guys, like constantly catching me off guard. And I have to say, I'm honestly amazed at how well the author builds the romantic aspect of the story. The way she writes Ceres' emotion so vivid that I can actually feel the same emotion that she is feeling at the moment. It's like I'm right there with her, experiencing the highs and lows that she is currently going through. And the spice scenes, guys, my gosh. Oh my gosh. They're on another level. Maybe because when I read this, I actually simultaneously listened to the audiobook. So parang while I'm reading, it felt so graphic in nature. Like, because you can hear, in the audiobook, ganon. It's just really so intense that it gives all the right good energy. And seriously, it's done so well. It's so impossible not to get completely pulled in. It's so good. So as I've said, I'm reading Quicksilver while I'm listening to the audiobook, and it's like a very perfect combination. Try it, guys. I recommend it because Quicksilver has parang isa siya sa mga may magagandang audiobook versions. Because not all audiobooks are good, okay? I've listened to some other audiobooks and parang they are not totally worth it. But this one, super. So parang I recommend reading and listening to it simultaneously. Because it will just really make your reading experience more enjoyable and unforgettable. Seriously, the voice actors voice in the audiobook brings the character to life. Like, hanapin mo kung sino yung voice actor na yun. Kasi my gosh, yung voice niya, sobrang good, sobrang nice. Because every time he speaks, I cannot help but keep on smiling. You wanna know what I'm trying
I'll
to
be
talk
grateful
about?
for
So
every
listen to
second
this.
that I can say I belong to you, Sarah's Fane. 80 years or 18 hours, it doesn't matter to me. It'll still be the highest honor of my life. I'm in love with you, Sarah's Fane. And I'm already half mad anyway. What's a little complicated thrown into the mix?
So, ayun, gets niyo na ako. So, I can seriously go on and on and on about this book, but I'm actually hesitant because I might be spoiling a lot more. Kanina parang na-spoil ko na nga yung sa Binding 13 eh. But anyways, who cares? This is my book review. Sorry naman. So, Kingfisher is the real deal, guys, when it comes to shadow daddies. Why do I say so? Kasi, not only how dirty-mouthed he is, but also, he's got that I'll move heaven and earth vibe. And actually, Zayden Ryerson was my first shadow daddy. Though others may claim na hindi naman siya shadow daddy material, but who cares? Para sa akin, shadow daddy ko siya. So, siya yung parang naging first ko talaga na shadow daddy. But when I got to know Kingfisher, as in, andito na si Zayden, tapos, si Kingfisher na, charot. Parang, I get to question myself, is it normal to get kilig from a book character? Because I'm definitely feeling otherwise. I know yung mga book girlies natin dyan, may intindihan niyo ako. Anyway, the second book of the series is set to drop this year, but I don't know the exact date kung kailan siya i-release. And I think that it will be entitled as Brimstone if I'm not mistaken. So, my rate for this book, Quicksilver, is a solid 5-star. So, ayun, nakaka-happy kasi for the month of February, may 3 5-star na tayo. And I give 5 stars, and it's no doubt because this book deserves every single star na i-rate ko sa kanya. If you're looking for a book recommendation that is full of twists and there's a plot and amazing stories with full of emotion, then do yourself a favor, guys. Go get Grub the Quicksilver by Callie Hart. Okay, so let's go to the 4th book of the month, which is The Reckless. So this is the second book of the Powerless trilogy by Lauren Roberts. And if you wanna know my book review for the first book of the trilogy, which is The Powerless, go check my January book review, guys. So andun siya. Now, if you do remember, the first book ends with Paydin leaving Ilya after she killed the king, with the resistance taking off after that. Paydin was now the #1 target of the kingdom. And let me tell you guys, I still cannot get over about the last scene of The Powerless because as in sobrang heartbreaking niya, and it really leaves you cliffhanger talaga siya. Kaya when I finished the book, as in sobrang excited ako basahin agad yung second book. So ayun, so the very first mission of Kai Azar as the enforcer was to find Paydin, dead or alive. Di ba si Kit na ngayon yung naging siya bale yung naging successor ng king, di ba, nung namatay yung father nila. So ayun, the search for Paydin has begun, and Paydin now is on the run. So Paydin was bouncing from one place to the other place, and starting a new life isn't easy. Hindi madali para kay Paydin, lalo na she's on the run. She's a wanted person, and aside from that, the kingdom has put a public notice. So sa public notice na yon, hindi lang na sinasabing wanted si Paydin. The kingdom has offered a huge sum of money na kung sino man yung makahanap kay Paydin and dalhin siya sa kingdom is promised, kumbaga, na yun yung makukuhang reward. Dead or alive, basta madala si Paydin. So, it's not only on the hands of the enforcer, it's not only on the hands of Kai to look for Paydin, but the whole community of Ilya was already searching for her. There were so many instances where Kai and Paydin has crossed paths, like almost they're destined to meet each other at certain points. For me, while reading this, I felt it it's like a bit expected. Just when the scene started to get intense, parang hindi siya nasusustain when the excitement was already there. Parang bigla siyang nagda-drop down. Like, alam mo yung nasa edge ka na, tapos hindi na-sustain ng author yung excitement, yung thrill ng scenes na yon. And so bigla siyang nagda-drop. Alam mo yung parang ayun magmi-meet na sila tapos bigla na lang nawawala. Yung parang tapos paulit-ulit siya. That's what I felt. Na parang paulit-ulit siya sa ganung scenario na almost but not quite ganon. So yun lang guys, parang this book just literally evolves for the whole mission of finding Paydin. I think I'm not gonna dive into more nung nakita na siya, but it just ended there. Yung gusto kong mabasa sana sa libro yung after na nag-meet na uli ni Kit si Paydin. But of course, I know it will be in book 3. Hindi ako nag-enjoy dito. But guys, if the Powerless book, sobrang ganda ng banters nilang dalawa. Ganon pa din naman. I give credit to that. Yung banter ng dalawa ni Kai and ni Kai and ni Paydin, andun pa, same as with the Powerless. So yun nga lang, I just didn't enjoy Reckless as much as I did with Powerless. While the premise and the characters are still compelling. However, the pacing and the development of the story didn't quite live up to the expectations that I had with the previous book, with the first book. This is the first non-5-star read for me for this month of Feb. I think I'm gonna give this only 3.6 stars kasi hindi ko talaga siya na-enjoy. I'm so sorry ha. So, I've already discussed about the 4 books. So this is another romantasy genre for this month. So it follows a girl who's all about love and happy endings. But instead of a dreamy romance she's hoping for, she found herself entangled with some twisted scenario. The world in this book is dripping with enchantments, power, magic, and the characters are as dangerous as they are fascinating. Before we dive in, let me give you a quick confession and just a little disclaimer. I know there are a lot of people who absolutely love this first book in the series. Honestly, it just didn't hit for me. I don't know what happened to me. Like really, as in na parang 'di ba ang may 3 na akong 5 stars for this month, parang magkasunod yung mga nabasa ko na parang hindi yun para sa akin. Yung parang I can say to myself na it's not for me. And I've been wondering if maybe it's because I still have a real hangover from the Binding 13 and Keeping 13 that I cannot seem to focus on new books. Kasi as in sobrang naano talaga ako ng Boys of Tommen guys. Yung parang even na tapos ko na siyang basahin, hindi siya mawala sa isip ko. I will be very honest. Even while I'm reading yung Quicksilver at that time, yung mind ko pa rin andun sa Binding and Keeping 13. However, Quicksilver was just way too good. Kaya na-focus din yung attention ko sa kanila. So, I don't know if it's because of my reading hangover from the Boys of Tommen series, or it's really just about the book. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I can't even remember the scenes from these last 2 books that I've read. I'm so sorry because it just didn't leave a very strong impression for me. Again, that could totally be on me or the current mood that I was in at that time. So since I've been pretty openly obsessed with the Boys of Tommen series with Binding 13 and Keeping 13, so I went ahead of myself and bought the Saving 6 and Redeeming 6. But while I was waiting for those books to arrive at that time, I indulged myself with these 2 books that I've mentioned earlier that didn't just quite settle with me. So, at that time, I decided I wanted to keep the momentum going. So, I picked these 2 books, the Once Upon a Broken Heart and The Ballad of Never After. These 2 books are part of the Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber. She's the author also of the Caraval. Hindi ko pa nabasa yung Caraval, guys. I don't know if babasahin ko pa siya or let us see. I already have the 3rd book of this one. The 3rd book was A Curse for True Love. And I'm so sorry, but I cannot give you a lot of information about these two books. Since I've already mentioned the reasons earlier, I will be giving these two books like 3.2 stars each. So ayun guys, honestly, I do think that I didn't give this series the fair shot. I felt quite sad about that. Like I said, my head was just not in its right space when I read these two books. But at the same time, maybe it wasn't just me. I mean, if when a book cannot grab my attention even when I am trying, that says something too about the book, right? So, yeah, maybe it was just my mood, or maybe the book just didn't do enough to pull me in. And the truth is, I barely remember the scenes and what happened in these two books. And I know that's such a pity because I do think it deserves more than that. That's why I do plan on giving it another shot at some point if my TBR list isn't overflowing anymore. Hopefully, when I'm going to reread it, I will be in a better reading headspace and have more to say about these books because right now I just don't have much to offer, guys. I am so sorry. One thing I do love to say though is that I love the covers of this book. It's just so very aesthetic and it's really a nice addition to your bookshelf. Like it's very like, girly. Sobrang ganda ditong i-add sa bookshelf mo. And it's not that thick of a book ha. So kaya mo siyang basahin. As in, tingnan mo gano'n lang siya kakapal. But sobrang hirap akong basahin to compared doon sa Binding 13 and Keeping 13 na sobrang kapal na parang hindi ko na talaga namamalayan na sa isang upuan ko lang parang ganito na yung natapos ko na page. Isang upuan ko lang, guys. To parang sobrang ginagapang ko siya. Parang inaantok ako habang binabasa ko to. I'm so sorry. Alright, that's it for today's vlog, guys. Naitaguyod natin yung ating February book review. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and listening to my Feb review. Chaotic mood and all. So overall, I've managed to finish 6 books for this month of Feb. So the first one was The Binding 13 and the second was the Quicksilver by Callie Hart. Then Reckless by Lauren Roberts, then another from Chloe Walsh from the Boys of Tommen series, which is the Keeping 13, and the last 2 books that I've read are the Once Upon a Broken Heart and The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. I'm quite proud of myself considering that Feb is the shortest month of the year. But I've managed to read 6 books this time. So ayun, I'm getting closer to my 50 book goal for the year 2025, guys. I'm pretty proud of that. I'm so proud of myself. And not to mention also that those 2 books in this month are quite beasts in size. So ayun, let me know in the comment section if you've read these books and what are your thoughts about it. And also, I'm so open to any book suggestions that you want me to read and have a book review. Wait, and also please tell me if you're also emotionally ruined by the Boys of Tommen series, guys. And I'm so open to talking to you about it. Let's discuss about it and maybe in my private chat. Kasi I super love this one, guys. And I cannot recommend it enough. Kaya please, kung may time kayo, may money kayo, may resources kayo, basahin niyo tong Boys of Tommen series. You will not regret it. So, ayun, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that notification bell button for you to be updated. And for you to be notified. And don't miss any of my bookish review rumbles. I've got more reads lined up for March. So, stay tuned for that. And, ayun, until next time, thank you so much sa panonood and happy reading!